we have a great team. We have a tremendous government affairs team. Pros, really. Starting with the past government affairs chair for the last 3 years and VAR president, Peter Tucker. Our current chair, Larry Bradley, has just jumped right in there, and is the right man at the right time for this year. We really are glad to have Larry in that capacity. Our new government affairs director, Chris McDonald, some of you may not have met yet, but he hit the ground running in November, and he is really proving his worth and the asset that he brings to our team. And of course, we couldn't do without, we know from long-standing, has served us in good stead, Chris Rice from McLean, Meehan and Rice, our lobbyist up at the State House. So they're going to get you up to speed here. Take it away, guys.
You know, we know that Governor Shumlin, one of his major points in his run for the governorship was talking about creating jobs in Vermont, and you know how important that is. I think that you know, one of the key concepts that we hope to relate to him and to start to build on is that, you know, Vermont has the 6th lowest unemployment rate in the nation. So it's not necessarily about jobs, but it is, you know, we do have certain areas of the state where that unemployment rate is substantially higher than the average. So, you know, our goal will be to change the governor's focus a little bit, you know, maybe from just any job to quality jobs. We're really convinced that on a national level, you know, while there has been some discussion about, you know, what's the true value of home ownership, you know, we're convinced that home ownership matters. You know, it is a foundation of wealth for many people. It's, you know, it's the location of their families. It provides a stable society. You know, actually, homeowners vote about 20% higher on average than non-homeowners.
Listen, we want to make sure that you have a robust and extraordinary year. And I have said that as governor, we all know it was kind of a tight election. And whether I was elected or whether Brian had been elected, I don't think that Vermont in a long time has been more united on what the challenge is. As realtors, you see it every single day. The challenge for this government, for this legislature, and those assembled here is, how do we grow jobs and grow economic opportunities for Vermonters? That is the mandate, whether it was close elections or landslides. That's what we have to get done, and that's what we're going to work on every single day. Do this. Broadband and cell service to every last mile by 2013, or we will not grow jobs. We're going to deliver high-speed broadband internet to every last mile of Vermont by 2013, and if you're in the back row, we're going to take care of you in the same way as if you were on Main Street. It is the electricity of the 1930s. We can't compete without it, and if you want to sell houses in Vermont, you got to be hooked up, and we're going to hook them up, and it's going to be a huge help to realtors in Vermont. When people come here to grow jobs, when people come here to live, they say, you know something? Vermont is the state where if I bring my kids with me, they will get an extraordinary education and be trained for the jobs of the 21st century. We're going to have to do some things differently there, but we're going to work innovatively and cooperatively to build the best education system in the country. The last one is taxes. And I know this might surprise you coming from a Democrat, but it is alleged that Sarah Palin said that she'd be good at foreign policy because she could see Russia from Alaska. And I don't need to tell those of you from the eastern side, I can do tax policy. So I'm the first governor since George Aiken that can see New Hampshire from my house. And I am not going to forget where I came from. I have watched jobs get exported to New Hampshire. I've watched shoppers get exported to New Hampshire. I've watched real estate sales get exported to New Hampshire all of my life. And we're going to be competitive. And that means we solve our problems without raising broad-based taxes. It means when someone comes in like they did yesterday with a great idea to raise the cigarette tax $1 a pack because we'll raise $10 million, they claim, I say, my God, you must be smoking something other than tobacco if you think that you're going to raise the cigarette tax $1 and bring in $10 million. Right now, We have $5 million more than we expected this year in Vermont because the tobacco tax is suddenly competitive with New Hampshire and lower than New York and competitive with Massachusetts. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out where that money came from. $5 million drifted in Vermont from folks who are addicted to tobacco in other states. I say bring them on. We need the money. Let's be smarter about how we run government. So those are some of the things we're thinking about. We'd love to answer your questions, but we're going to grow jobs together, one job at a time. We have an extraordinary legislature. Republicans and Democrats, progressives, independents working together, great leadership, and we're looking forward to working with you for a brighter future. Thanks for having me.
And so that's one of the concerns. It's not so much necessarily creating jobs, but let's not uncreate jobs by kind of approaching this with a policy that doesn't really, take a good hard look at what the ultimate consequences of those decisions are. I think that we make a big mistake in Vermont by not funding our travel and tourism industry a little bit more robustly. We are a state that, because of our other policies that have to do with the environment and things like that, place a very high value on the aesthetic criteria of any kind of decision that we make. As a consequence of that, we are essentially looking to make an income on our good looks, which is a terrific way to do it, but we got to let people know that we're out there and that we have these various ways of providing them with a quality entertainment dollar, so to speak. These people are people who come, and a statement that I've heard made, and I agree, is that on vacation everybody's a millionaire for a week, and these people spend money. And the more we can do to cultivate these people who basically, use our services, goods, and enjoy Vermont for the wonderful place that it is.
Sure, I think that certainly the goal to even things out throughout the seasons is admirable, and there are a few towns, Stowe being one, that has the ability to be as busy in the winter and fall as it is, or in the summer and fall as it is in the winter. I worked in Killington for a number of years before I came up here, and that town has exactly the opposite kind of history, and that is that they do far more skiers in the winter, but they have absolutely virtually no business in the summer. And they've tried. I mean, they work hard at it. It's the difficulty, and so trying to balance that out is certainly a challenge. What I've always found with marketing is that really looking at travel routes is a key ingredient in successful marketing. So we need to look at our corridors of Route 91, Route 89. It's amazing to me the amount of business that I see from New Jersey and Metro New York, even in northern Vermont, knowing that so many southern Vermont areas, or potentially New York, resort and tourism areas would be attractive to those people. But they seem to make the trip. But certainly, as you go down those major byways and highways, that is where the focus should be, because that is where the greatest return for your limited dollars is going to occur.
I hope the problems that we deal with are not new. We're kind of off the beaten path. We're the only place in the United States that does not have a time and distance represented on the Rand McNally map. I mean, I guess the general assumption is if you're going to Vermont, who cares how long it takes you to get there? So there's that kind of thing, and it is a challenge, but there's a real benefit to that sort of thing. And I think we do have a benefit to people who are creative, people who carry businesses around between their ears, the people who are technology savvy. You provide them with the technology, the ability to be here, to be flexible, and to at the same time enjoy some of the benefits. I mean, we've got a crashing school enrollment, and we've got fixed costs because we're still maintaining an organization of 277 districts and all the kinds of things attendant to it. And until we bend that spending curve or make better use of it, our property taxes are continue to remain high. They're going to continue to hurt us in competition for second home ownership with people who are shopping on the internet and those sorts of things. And I realize that your committee has one particular focus, and that this overlaps into several committees. But clearly, it's a comprehensive piece of work, and it takes a lot of dominoes to fall. But somewhere or another, the first one has to go. On the top line, to grow the top line, for instance, to be able to attract and to turn over more second homes, we do need to look at property taxes. I've got people in Windsor County who are paying $50,000 to $100,000 in property taxes. Now, it may well be that they can afford to write that check, and it may well be if they can't sell their home that they're going to be stuck there writing that check ad infinitum. But what has happened is that people who look at Vermont's tax policies will look at a listing, they'll look at those property taxes, and they'll see that they're heavily weighted towards second home ownership in these communities, and given the fact that those are generally the more expensive properties, that's certainly probably true. But the problem is that these people create a huge net benefit to us. You know, essentially we plow their roads, and in many instances that's all you get from those people. That's all the services you provide to those people. So when you look at the impact of that, irrespective of the last recession, if you combine the sales, the unit sales from 08, 09, and 10 throughout the entire state of Vermont, it takes the product of those 3 years of sales to just shade to the sales that occurred only in 2005 and 2004 as distinct sales groups. So, you know, people are voting with their pocketbook, or they're staying out of here, and the people who are here feel very disconnected, very disenfranchised by the process, especially with some of these people who look at the fact that we've got a, you know, a 10 or 11 to 1 student ratio, and then they're going back home to Massachusetts or wherever, and you know they have to, you know, they're sending their kids to school where you've got a 16 or 17 to 1 student ratio. So, you know, some of those hard numbers are really hurting our ability to compete, and we are competing on discretionary dollars. The internet is out there, you know, putting us in front of the entire world every day, and people are looking and shopping elsewhere.
I think New England in general, very pragmatic borrowers, but I think if we really delved into it, the reality is we were not a big enough marketplace to become a really good target for subprime lending. It wasn't profitable enough for them, or it was rather more profitable in other parts of the country. You know, the amount of properties that do have mortgages on them, and the amount of equity that people have in houses in Vermont is much greater than many other parts of the country. So it provided some stability. You know, so on behalf of the Vermont Association of Realtors, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to review this videotape. We've had a terrific legislative day. The group that arrived was in great form, and we've met with a number of legislators that now understand a lot more about our issues. Hopefully, if you followed through all of our leadership forums and panel discussions, you have a much better comprehension of kind of what our issues are and where we hope to head in the upcoming year, and how important it is to have realtor participation. When we reach out, you know, when legislative issues are at the voting stage, we're going to be asking you to contact your legislators and to help us get the proper legislation in action. So once again, thanks again for being part of Legislative Day with the Vermont Association of Realtors.